Okay, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I am back with another Starcraft 2 1 versus 1 replay cast. Gonna be having ourselves a best of 3 here, and it's actually one I'm excited to cast because I think it's been a while since I really cast either of these guys. But we've got ourselves a best of 3. It's going to be a Terran versus Protoss, new patch, and on the map Acropolis. So what we've got here is it's actually going to be spawning up in the top left-hand, or I guess who we've got here, not what we've got here. Spawning up in the top left-hand side of the map, it's aLive, the Terran player. One of the top Korean Terrans. I mean, maybe not the top of the top, as he's been a bit quiet on the aLive front. aLive, by the way, playing for Afrika S2, I want to say still, which is a team sponsored by Afrika after their team did all right in Team League. Now his opponent though is an absolute monster, spotting down in the bottom right-hand side of the map. It's Stats playing for Team Splice. Stats, if you follow the Starcraft 2 scene, probably needs no real introduction. He's an absolute monster of a Protoss. One of the best players in the world, probably the best Protoss in the world, I'd say. And just such an absolute all-around player, which is something that really makes him great to watch. But yeah, so we've got ourselves a Terran versus Protoss, a good old TvP. And we're going to see just exactly how this is going to play out, because I said it's been a long time since we've seen aLive, or since I've personally seen aLive. I mean, he hasn't had massive results in any tournament or anything like that. But as far as this game goes, looks like he is going to be going for a Reaper expand, a bit notably, building that command center on the high ground there. And yeah, we'll just see where this game's going to go from here, as aLive actually got the cool old school SCV skin on there. I swear, I'm not crazy, guys. I swear this actually makes the SCVs look smaller. Like, I'm pretty sure these older SCVs, they are actually, they must be smaller than the normal ones. Like, their actual unit size is the same, but the skin, I think it actually is like downscaled a little bit. They just look a little bit tinier than the current SCVs. And so I think that's just something kind of cool to note there. Now, we've got a full wall off here from Stats, a gateway there, blocking that Reaper, saying get on out of there. And now Stats, on the other hand, he's just going for a good old wall off here, and then going right on into an Adept that's crossing the map there. So actually a pretty darn quick Cybercore. Stat or aLive trying to jump his Reaper over that pylon. Not going to be happening though. So the Reaper just going to set to work on the pylon, interestingly enough, while a Stalker is on the way out for Stats. So this is an interesting play here, but it is important to note, since aLive on this side of the map actually went for the CC back at home, there's no risk of that Adept being able to harass it or anything like that. So just a bit of peace of mind there, while these two Marines are dancing versus this Adept who's gonna try and pick him off. There's a chance that aLive could rally out his two Marines on top of this Adept, which I think might have been worth it there. You may be able to get a half-health Adept. Reaper came back though for aLive as well, gonna set to work on that Adept, but does have to run on into the main there, as that Adept is gonna be able to pick it off. Oh no, a bit of miss micro there from aLive, as that Adept just gets that final Frisbee off and kills that Reaper. A bit of a mistake there from aLive. So that's a little bit concerning for the start of this game, just something like that happening. But yeah, we'll take a look. aLive at least has the cool Marine skin going for him, that new free War Chest skin, I believe it is. Yeah, this is the classic Marine skin. So just maybe that's one way Blizzard's trying to bring unity between this Brood War and Starcraft 2 communities. Just have Starcraft 2 look like Brood War. That could be the answer. Now, as far as this game goes, though, I mean, nothing too significant has happened so far. We do have Stats. Oh god, guys. For those of you that watched GSL versus the World, I had the pleasure of seeing it live. I'm probably going to tout that till the end of time, that I was able to see that live. But Stats, he just went for 3 oracles, and spoilers alert, okay, spoilers alert if you haven't seen GSL versus the World, just mute the cast for the next 15 seconds, because I'm about to gush out here. Stats just absolutely destroyed Maru with 3 oracles. Basically, in the past, oracles would only take like two would only take 2 shots to kill an SCV, so they were just SCV slaughtering machines. Then their damage got nerfed just a little bit, so basically it took 3 shots in total for an Oracle to kill an SCV, so that's a very significant change. But stats, he's just recently been making 3 Oracles and just going back to one-shotting them instead of like they would do with 2 Oracles in the past. So look at this, SCVs just getting picked off here and there and everywhere. So 6 SCVs going down in total. That is absolutely brutal for starters. Now, Stats does want to be careful. He's actually going to try and engage into these Cyclones. Actually gets one of them. An Oracle might go down for the cost of it, though. So, an okay trade there for aLive. Just Cyclone for an Oracle. Probably worth it for the Terran. But Stats, though, still getting 7 SCVs. Nicely done. Gets a pretty good scout on the status of aLive's army, too, which cannot be undervalued. And we do take a look at what aLive's doing. He's going up into a 2-base play here. He's getting up Stim, which is about to finish up. Stim now finishes up a little bit quicker than it used to do. Or 121 seconds. That's how long it used to take. But I'm pretty sure this is on the current patch. And the balance patch has gone through, if I'm not mistaken, right? But, yeah, maybe it was 140 seconds before. Maybe just that text has an update or something like that. But anyway, let's take a look here. The Oracle's still picking off another 2 SCVs, so just being a pain. Stats is one of those Protoss players who's an absolute god with that. Now, if you are Stats, though, you're going to be a little bit concerned. This Terran attack is coming on in here for aLive. Basically, what he's going to be doing is he's going to be rolling on in with his tank with a ton of Marines here, as a matter of fact. And I mean, Stim Marines will basically just slaughter Infinite Gateway units unless the Protoss gets some good force fields, good Guardian shields off. And the one tank is going to be used for zoning while this is going on. Nice force fields do go down for Stats, though, but this is an absolute ton of Marines. aLive, though, does decide to retreat for now. A Colossus comes and joins out for Stats, and a Colossus absolutely destroys Marines with just +1 combat shield. Or without combat shield, pardon me. Combat shield just finished up for aLive, but that was a little bit too little too late, as a Colossus is just absolutely massacres Marines. These Marines will have +1 in just a second here, but so far not looking good for aLive. This is looking rather textbook, the shutdown that Stats is giving the Terran right now. So aLive, he went for that attack and it didn't work out. And now the situation is that we've got Stats. He's going to have extended Thermal Lance for his Colossus. And that Colossus count is going to be increasing. He's going to be getting up a Twilight Council, shield batteries, cannons. He's really covering all of his bases here. And aLive, who committed a lot to this attack, a 2-base is definitely a commitment from a Terran player. Off the back of all these workers he's been losing to these Oracles, this is just putting the Terran in a very tough spot. He does have a 3rd CC on the way, but it's still very, very worrisome, the situation that aLive has found himself in. The Protoss players just sitting pretty. This is just textbook so far. What we're seeing out of Stats, we see aLive, he's going to try and make a Marine drop happen right now, but the Colossus are looking just to eviscerate these Marines here. Not a lot of damage is going to be getting done, I don't see. 2 probes go down so far. However, aLive, he's committed, really committed with this drop, so yeah, this just isn't going to happen for him. Yeah, I mean, all those Marines for 1 Zealot. 4 probes have gone down. We actually saw another drop here at the 3rd base, but it's just nothing compared to the damage that aLive has taken. He's going to be looking for an attack here, but usually at this point in the game, if the Terran is this far behind economically, they usually have a bigger army, but that simply isn't the case here for Stats, or for aLive, pardon me. We're seeing that he's just down on army supply, down on workers. These Oracles picking off more SCVs, and they are still aLive. Stats just, an absolute monster. He lost 1 in the Oracles early on, but these other guys have made up for it. We're sitting at 14 kills and 8 kills for the Oracles here, and so far in this best of 3, it is not looking good for the Terran player right now. aLive is going to need something. Maybe he can just build up enough bio and we'll be able to catch Stats out of position majorly. That's really what you have to hope for as the Terran, but just Stats, he's got 3 Colossus right now. Does he have a Warp Prism with this army? That is the big question. He does have a Warp Prism, so he is free to move out for an attack now. He'll be able to warp in rounds of charge lots once the charge is done, and really put a hurt on the Terran. aLive, oh my god, just loses about 2 full medibacks of units there for pretty much no cost. Widowmine's burrow, but they are picked off before anything even happens. So yeah, guys, I'm just saying it now. aLive is dead. He's going to be going in for a medivac drop in the natural here, and Stats did just do a warp in, so he might not actually get too much done, and those are some pretty nice Widowmine connections there. But the problem is, aLive still has to hold on back at home, and this is a 3 Colossus army with a ton of Link Stalkers backing it up. There are Widowmines, but they're getting picked off by the high-range Colossus. And now we're seeing aLive. He's going to have to make a hold happen. Maybe he can get enough counter damage done back at home, but this drop is getting cleaned up. So aLive just desperately trying to hang on for now, trying to focus down the Colossus, but beautiful micro from Stats, saving them in the Warp Prism there, and that's where the bio starts to wear thin, and it looks like the first game is going to be going to Stats here. GG as aLive falls down to Stats there, but keep in mind, I saw that this is a best of 3, so we are going to cast every single game here, and so that means there's going to be at least one more match between Stats and aLive. Loading on into it now. For those of you wondering, these replays are indeed from the Oli Moly League, or Olima League, pardon me. And here we are. It's going to be continuing on this best of 3. Spawning down in the bottom left-hand side of the map, it is Splice Stats. And up in the top right-hand side of the map, it's aLive, playing for Afrika S2. So aLive had a bit of a rough go of it there. So we'll see how this next game's going to go for him. It is a best of 3, so he definitely can bring it back. This is why I generally like to cast best of 3s when I can, or generally long 1v1 games for Legacy of the Void, because just if I just cast that one game, wouldn't be an overly long cast or anything like that, but it's good to see a full series between these players, and so a game's really not just a one-off, like everything that really could go wrong for aLive there did. Now though, this game, we're going to be starting off with a bit of a cheesy play here coming out of Stats, as yeah, he's actually going to be having one proxy gateway here. What's he is this going to be for like a Stargate or another gateway? That is the question. Oh, there's another gateway. So going for this bit of a proxy right now. The interesting thing that I want to point out is the max packs, before I kind of went on hiatus, was all the rage. And everyone kind of thought that the max packs would replace this version of the build, because it's a lot less committed, and it's easier to macro out of. But we are seeing Stats indeed going for this old version of the build, the one proxy gate, the one back at home, and then we'll see what it's going to get done versus aLive here. As aLive, I mean, could be in a bit of a rough spot. Let's take a look. Reaper on the way out for aLive. I mean, unless you SCV Scout, you really won't know this build is coming. And so this could be tough for aLive. He does go for his CC on the high ground, which is very, very important to holding a build like this. But we take a look, and there's already a Stalker being Chrono boosted out. aLive is scouting out for a dirty proxy like this. Is the Reaper going to go to the north and check? If he scouts it, this is going to be absolutely huge. And he does see the gateway there. He sees it Chrono boosting. So alarm bell should be ringing for the Terran, and we should be seeing a bunker go up. We immediately see that bunker start there for aLive, and now he really just needs to hold on here. So he's going to want to toss a grenade for that Reaper in order to slow down that Stalker. Stalker just jumps right on over. The Marine and the Reaper are engaging into this Stalker. Meanwhile, another Marine pops out, so great control so far for aLive to stay I'm going to say it, stay alive in this game. Now, he's moving out with his Reaper, going to maybe go for a bit of a counterattack here, because he knows that he's going to have the bunker on the high ground, and then once you've got the bunker, it basically takes 1,000,000 Stalkers to break a bunker. Not quite 1,000,000, but a very significant amount. Basically, Stats isn't going to be able to push up this ramp. The Stalkers, they use their range and mobility in order to wear down the Terran, and so I just don't know if it's going to happen there. Oh, aLive does lose that add-on, though. I'm not sure. I believe that was a reactor that had started that got picked off, so that really does hurt for the Terran. He did cancel that. I expected aLive to cancel it, but he did not. Now, though, he is going to be looking for a bit of a scout with his Reaper, so aLive still in a pretty decent economic situation. Losing that reactor is his only loss so far, so he'll definitely take that. As we take a look, and the Terran already has the command center done, whereas the Protoss just getting up his Nexus here. And so Stats put himself behind with this build. aLive scouting that was absolutely huge. Sometimes to a build like this, without a scout on that Reaper, the Terran simply dies. So a good scout from aLive, and now he's actually going to be moving out here, going to be looking to shut down this pylon, just put the pressure a little bit on Stats in order to make sure that the Protoss isn't getting too comfortable. So if you're alive, you probably want to pick off this pylon and then back off into your main base, because he doesn't actually have that much bulk yet, and the Protoss does still have a fair few stalkers. I'm actually a little bit concerned here for the Terran player, because there is going to be a Warp Prism out that's going to be joining up with this army at some point, I presume, and that's going to allow Stats to micro with his stalkers to go for a bit of pressure here. Now, the bunker is going to be absolutely huge at the front. That's what I was going to say. I was a little bit worried that there wasn't a bunker up at the front for aLive. Fortunately, he is remedying that. Now, we are taking a look at it, though. Warp Prism out on the map here. Marine or two getting picked off. Fortunately for aLive, he does have this siege tank. Stats, though, is definitely going to be microing around with this Warp Prism. The Cyclone going to move on in, try and pick that off, but locks onto a Stalker there, and that's just going to get nothing done. A siege tank and another few Marines are about to pop out. I think some SCVs may need to be pulled just to dislodge this Protoss here. That Cyclone is desperately looking for that Warp Prism. Stats getting a little bit concerned. Marines are going to start working away on this Prism. I think it's going to get safely to this bottom right corner, though, so that is very, very good for Stats. However, aLive is doing it. He's keeping things together for now, and he's got himself a very good economic position compared to the Protoss, because the worker count is actually even, which always benefits the Terran. There is no doubt about that, and we do take a look. Stim is on the way for aLive right now, and that is very good, but we do see that Warp Prism end up getting recalled there by the Protoss. Just Stats wanting to make sure it gets out, knowing that's a bit of a commitment. And oh, look at this. Stats was a bit cheeky. He lost his pylon, but he actually rebuilt it. Now, it is just going to die again, so he is going to lose that pylon, lose that Warp Gate perhaps at some point. For now, though, aLive playing it pretty passive, probably waiting until he gets Stim before really moving on out, and he is going to have himself a pretty powerful army versus that of the Protoss, because we're seeing there's going to be 3 barracks production. I would like to see a couple Marauders out of aLive in a second here, because Stats is going for Colossus, a 2-base Colossus play, a very safe option. Basically, Stats, he committed to this, so his economy isn't that great, but he does actually have 2 Disruptors out right now, which can be very concerning. So Stats, he got that Gravitic drive to make the Warp Prism go much quicker. He is going to be looking to put pressure onto the Terran player right now. Those Marines might actually catch that Prism. It's looking a little bit close. We are seeing Stats, though. He did kind of sneak his way through here. SCVs may need to be pulled to avoid this Disruptor. Disruptor does get locked on by the Cyclone, or the Prism gets locked on by the Cyclone. If your Stats, oh, aLive, he's dodging those Prism shots. Oh, Disruptor almost goes down. Stats playing with fire there. I mean, what a crazy situation. Oh, man, all these SCVs clumped up is making me nervous when there is a Disruptor afoot. aLive did trap this Prism once again, though. The recall does end up going down, though, so that is very, very good for Stats, just keeping that alive. Losing that would have been disastrous, but Disruptors are a very good comeback unit for a Protoss player. So the fact that aLive, or that Stats still has those, and it's really going to help him overcome this army, and aLive does need to be paying attention. Good lift up in the Medivac, though, avoiding that Disruptor Nova. Stats always going to be looking for some damage. aLive paying attention once again, though, just to try and avoid that. This Prism very, very quick. Stats very, very high APM in order to micro that Disruptor. And this is where things get a little bit concerning for aLive. While he's got a bigger army supply, this AoE threat is always going to be there. All it takes is 1 or 2 good Disruption Novas and your day becomes very bad. The tanks are sieged on up. aLive is pursuing this, but he did bleed off a fair bit of bio there for really not a lot of damage, so that's somewhat concerning for the Terran. Now, aLive's economy is still pretty darn good compared to that of Stats. I mean, it is going to be 3-base versus 3-base. Disruptors do go off. They pick off the siege tank. They take a bit of a beating, but still aLive. Stats, he's got a 3rd base, but it's not really saturated. He's focusing 100% on this defense right now, really. Getting out another Colossus, and he's actually going to have 3 in just a second here. And this is going to be concerning for aLive, because 3 Colossus really is the magic number. They put out damage so quickly versus a Terran army that you really can do things like break siege tanks, like aLive has right now. Vikings are out, though. The count is starting to build up for aLive, which is really going to help him out. Army supplies, even upgrades, are in the lead for aLive. He does have this +1, however, the actual unit composition is a little bit concerning here. A nice Liberator harassment, though, going down for aLive, though, shutting down mining in the main base. Going to be picking off 4 probes before going down. Liberator just going to hang out it with Seam, and we are actually seeing a bit of an engagement on the front. Zealots running forward. They don't actually have charge, but they are just being a buffer. Looks like a Colossus is going down. Actually, all 3 Colossus go down. Hold the phone there. Let's just back that up. I mean, I was looking at that. Okay, aLive actually did go in while that Liberator harassment was getting dealt with. So, yeah, I expected an engagement, but not so quickly. aLive kind of just Leroy Jenkins in there, it would seem. Yeah, moves in with all of his +1 bio. Rolls forward with a tank just to get into position there. And once the tanks are sieged in, the bio kind of goes in. Bait stats into this engagement. Disruption, Nova goes down, but aLive actually focuses down the disruptors. Eats one shot, but no, I guess the Vikings putting out enough damage. The tanks being able to pick off one of the Colossus there with their shots, and that's really all it took. So aLive able to shut down stats. They're beautifully done. And suddenly, we're heading on into game number 3. I didn't expect that so quickly, but since we are heading on into game number 3, I do want to say, if you are enjoying this video, make sure to press that like button. Let's try and hit 20 likes on this video for a nice PVT between aLive and Stats. I mean, that was kind of crazy, but aLive really did just do a good job there, shutting down the opening of Stats, and it shows really how the opening is a very, very big deal in StarCraft 2, because in that first game, it just really came down to aLive going for a 2-base, taking a bit of early damage, and his hand kind of was forced. Just getting into a bad situation seems to be what has been going on this series. However, I've already introduced the players twice, but we'll do it again. Spawning down on the bottom right-hand side of the map, it's aLive. He's repping that Dopin clan, which is actually like a StarCraft 2 clan that's just been kicking on the ladder. There's various members here and there. I think it's just, I think it was kind of like a Terran clan or something, but there's all sorts of players in it. And up in the top left-hand side of the map, it's the Monster, it's Splice Stats. So, yeah, it's great to cast this game here from the Oli Moly League. Or from the Olima League, pardon me. And, yeah. Let's just take a look at how this is going on. Gateway on the way here for Stats. And then just notably in his base. No proxy just yet. Maybe we'll see one. But the scout for aLive in that last game really was what was important. And, yeah, now we'll see. How's it going to go from here on out? Scouting probe for aLive. The map is Thunderbird. Thunderbird, a bit of an interesting map. It's we're at the point in which Blizzard is kind of starting to embrace the unique sort of map ideas a little bit more than they would in the past. Blizzard in the past would have been like, nah, this is StarCraft. Everything needs to be just straight up. Now there's a little bit more variety. Blizzard's like, yeah, the game's like, okay, it's 9 years old at this point. We'll let you guys be out there a little bit more with your maps, which is absolutely great. So we get these kind of cool mineral walls, which you gotta mine in order to open up. And so that's kind of interesting. Let's take a look here. A probe, just or the probe, the harassment probe, is just kind of poked into aLive a little bit. Nothing too major though. No proxies or anything like that. The probe is taking the long way home. Or maybe he's not going home at all, but either way, he's trying to avoid this Reaper that has been looking for him. The Reaper, interestingly enough, backing on up for aLive, not going across the map. Maybe he is just looking for a probe. It's kind of a game of RNG, but yeah, look at this. aLive just a little bit worried here, not even crossing the map to see what Stats is going for. He just wants to have that Reaper at home for defense in case of any shenanigans. We take a look here though, and interestingly enough for Stats, this is actually pretty nice for him. The fact that aLive isn't scouting, because Stats is simply going for a 1-gate Twilight Council so far, and this could be a little bit concerning for aLive. We'll see how it's going to play out, but oh, look at this. This Adept shades right up that ramp. Reaper does not pursue. Marines don't pursue. Or that, yeah, that Adept shades right up that ramp. Not going to get any further than that. Just being a pain with that scouting. Stats, though, turns that Adept away, goes right on home, sees aLive is prepared for this, and now we are indeed seeing actually a 1-gateway blink opening, which is a pretty greedy opening. I believe this is meant to go into a rather quick third base for the Protoss, and then into a Robo or something like that. But maybe it will be a 2-base or something. But yeah, there we go. That probe is moving out for Stats, so we could be seeing ourselves a very quick third base, or maybe it's just throwing up a scouting pylon. Either way, the fact of the matter is that While Stats has yet to decide to throw up a third base or show whether he's going to be going for a ton of aggression, aLive has already got his third base well underway. He went for a very quick third command center. He is realizing that the map is Thunderbird. It's a rather defensible map, a tough map to get early aggression done, so going for the more economic route, which is great to see, very mature. However, for any Terran going 3cc, you do have to be careful if you're aLive. There is the fact that there's going to be a Blink Stalker Protoss relatively soon, and basically what that means is that you have to be rather careful if you are aLive, because all it takes is Protoss getting the Terran out of position, just in one good blink into the main base, and things suddenly get very, very sour for the Terran, because basically the Protoss, they're just going to probably pick off your stim pack, maybe get your combat shield, something like that. aLive, though, is really reinforcing the front of his base. He does decide to pull back now. I would love to see a bunker if I'm aLive. Personally, as a Terran, I think that if you're going for a third CC play, a bunker is always the option. Or always a necessity, because it does just shut down that light pressure, and then it really shuts down light pressure that would poke into you, but then it also shuts down heavy aggression. So, or really helps shut down heavy aggression anyway. Now, we are seeing aLive go for that barracks follow-up, but this is a very economic play from the Terran. He's got his siege tanks out. The one concern for me, though, is that Stats is just going to blink across and kind of bamboozle aLive here. Yeah, look at this right now. Stalkers are going to blink across this position, and then they're probably going to blink into the main base. Looks like the command center is actually going to scout this. However, aLive, his tanks are out of position, so suddenly in comes 6 Stalkers. Cyclone gets locked onto, stays alive, which is very important for the Terran player right now. But, oh, yeah, it looks like Stats is going to be getting forced back. One of the tanks repositioned for the Terran player. The other is still exposed a little bit. A scan goes down. The Observer actually is going to get picked off, which is absolutely critical. But, oh, look at this. Yeah, Stats, that one tank I said was alone there. And suddenly Stats trades a Stalker for a tank, which is a pretty darn good trade for a Protoss in this situation. Now, looks like one other Stalker does get picked off by that siege tank. That is pretty darn nice for the Terran player. aLive, oh, okay, looks like aLive going to be trying to catch these Stalkers moving out with a few Marines or Marauder SCVs and the Cyclone, so he's going to try and force these Stalkers to blink back across. Looks like Stats did indeed fall for it, so a cute move by aLive. He doesn't actually have stim yet, though, so the Stalkers can kind of just run away. Oh, one of them does get picked off. Is another going to go down? Oh, nope, they blink away. Stats just showing how good his micro is, just microing those 2 Stalkers that he has left. Either way, though, we did end up seeing a third base go up behind this from Stats. He's just tacking up behind this. He's got charge. He's got 1-1 on the way. Quicker upgrades than the Terran. He can always Chrono Boost them out too. And then he's got Psystorm out. Or on the way out, pardon me. So it's going to be like a mass gateway Psystorm Immortal Sentry play, which is a cool way to change it up, because aLive might just be thinking that it's going to be just Colossus once again or something like that. And a very quick Psystorm is never a bad thing for a Protoss. It is just such a powerful spell. And so, could be a little bit concerning here for the Terran player. Right now, we are going to be seeing a bit of Adept harassment go down from Stats. Just got a Prism. No glaives on these Adepts, but 3 Adepts is that magic number for a Protoss that you need in order to pick off SCVs, because 3 Adept shots picks off an SCV. This one Adept, though, not going to get very far. All 3 of them will be picked off. 4 SCVs go down in total. Nothing too major there. We are going to be seeing Stats warping 3 Zealots, though, this time, or 4 Zealots this time, and they might have an easier time killing SCVs and be harder to clean up, because there is going to be that charge done for the Protoss player. Let's take a look here. Psystorm going to be completing pretty soon. Stats going into a 4th base, so realizing that macro is definitely an option for the Protoss here. And honestly, in PvT, I think it is the name of the game. Macro is generally a good option for the Protoss players, and that's simply based off the fact that the Protoss has a lot of AoE in the late game, which Terran really relies on getting those sort of small advantages in a lot of trades, whereas when the Protoss, say they get Psystorm or Disruptors, 1 or 2 big shots, and that can give you a game. And so Stats realizing that he is fine getting up this 4th base. He's got very good upgrade timing. He's going to be able to Chrono Boost those more. As they say that, he just dumps Chrono into them. Meanwhile, aLive, he is kind of realizing that this game will go later, though. Terran it's not like Terran has no late game. It definitely can be done. Terran's taking the game later off the back of a 4th base, so aLive does start up a 4th CC. He's already going into Liberator production, getting ship weapons, which is very important. So Liberator production, probably going to be advanced ballistics on the way, and Liberators are a very powerful tool for Terran. Protoss does have the tools to deal with them, but it's they're rather out of the way. The Tempest, we don't see them shine nearly as much as they used to versus Protoss, and that's big, or versus Terran, because usually when a Terran's using Liberators, the actual fights happen very, very quickly. But oh no, look at this. In comes Stats. He does actually lose his Warp Prism, though. I thought those were going to be High Templar in that Prism. Turned out just to be Zealots, but we are going to be seeing Stats with his High Templar, with his Mass Zealots, push aLive back into his base. Now let's take a look. aLive going to load up a ton of medivacs. However, that was indeed spotted by the Protoss there. An Observer in a very nice position. This is going to allow Stats to see everything, including those medivacs load on up. So we are seeing the Protoss army pull back. aLive's going to be going for a big drop, but this is a pretty darn big commitment. And let's take a look here. We're actually seeing Colossus on the way out for Stats, and this is something that I think is so smart for Protoss. There's almost never a bad time to have a couple Colossus in your army as a Protoss if you can swing it, because it forces the Terran to make a kind of a disproportionate amount of Vikings. Like 1 or 2 Colossus, if there's say no Vikings to counter them, will get immense value for a Protoss. The positioning power they give is absolutely huge. Looks like a bit of a counterattack here from aLive, or just generally an attack in general. Just a small squad of Marines moving on out. But yeah, as I was saying, just 1 or 2 Colossus, if there's like no Vikings to deal with them, the added AoE that they add to the Terran force or to the Protoss army is just absolutely huge. And then even if the Terran does opt to deal with, say, just 1 or 2 Colossus or just a few Colossus, it does take a lot in Vikings. So it can generally be said to be a win-win for a Protoss that already has Size Storm. Now we are seeing aLive go for this big drop, but he did actually deny +3 weapons for the Protoss, which is a very, very nice pickoff. Just delaying these upgrades is absolutely immense, as the Terran has yet to start his own 3-3. That drop did get cleaned up, though. We are seeing the supply is rather even right now. A nice scan for aLive. Shutting down that Observer as well is absolutely huge. Shutting down these Observers is so important for the Terran, as the vision for a Protoss is just absolutely so important. And we are seeing aLive maybe seeing that this is his moment. Gonna be moving on in. He's got a ton of Liberators shutting down this 5th base for the Protoss. The Protoss is actually just deciding to break this, so Ghosts not quite in position. Can they get their EMPs off? They actually get EMPs off on a lot of the Protoss units there. There is High Templars in that Prism, though, so looks like Stats is able to dislodge the Terran. I mean, that was kind of just like a reckless attack there, but Stats, a very confident player, just realizing that yes, he was able to break that. Now aLive is forced to retreat right now. He does have advanced ballistics for these Liberators, so it's a rather good zone that he can retreat into. But Stats showed before that he doesn't care about Liberators. He just crashed forward, and he's actually going for it again. So Stats, showing no fear in the face of these Liberators, blinks forward with the Stalker's Size Storm and focuses them down. And suddenly the army has melted for the Terran player. And back at home, Stats, he's lost a few workers, I believe, to some Liberator harassment probably, but he just wiped the army of aLive. And aLive, he didn't really have time to build up that critical amount of Liberators, and there's already Tempest on the way. So Stats just showing how confident of a player he is. I mean, the fact that he was just like, yeah, sure, I'll just break these Liberators. Usually that many Liberators is something that requires a bit of thought before a Protoss will dismantle it. Stats was just like, all right, let's go for it. And definitely worked. So very good identification there of what his army was able to get done. We're seeing a bit of a counterattack be planned for aLive. However, it does actually get scouted by the Protoss player there, that Zealot on the LaughNgamez watchtower. And we are indeed seeing the fact that aLive is just running his units across the map because he has been making Liberators up to now. He has just made a big round of medivacs, so he will have some to support his army, but this is where it becomes very concerning for the Terran. I was talking about how we don't see Tempest too much. We are seeing them now in the smaller sort of situations. When you've got a Terran pinned like this, it is very bad for the Terran, because the Liberators will just pick you apart. Pardon me, the Tempest will just pick you apart, and that is exactly what we're seeing. This is just like a classic classic Protoss checkmate here in a sense. The Terran needs Vikings to deal with the Tempest, but there's already such a head start for Stats making the Tempest. Now, that was a very nice EMP going down there for the Protoss player, but or for the Terran player, but yeah, I don't know if there's gonna be enough here for aLive. I mean, he's trying to build up an army to break this. The Tempests don't actually add that much sort of muscle value, but look at this, they're just picking off Medivacs, they're picking off Liberators, and this basically forces the Terran to dive onto the Protoss army into a bad engagement because there's Psystorm ready to be dropped, and there we go, one Psystorm goes down. The Colossus also put out so much damage while the Bio was dancing back and forward, and so usually the choice in this situation is get enough Vikings and play the ultra late game, which most Terrans aren't comfortable doing, or go for a big counterattack, but Stats already has aLive pinned. A counterattack really isn't an option at this point. There'd just be too much of a heads up, and so this is looking very, very rough for the Terran right now. Tempest going to be picking off Liberators left and right here. Oh, looks like aLive's going to go for it, but this is not looking good. He's trying to focus down the Colossus, but Psystorms are being dropped, and yeah, I mean, one or two Colossus goes down, but it's just too much for Stats. So Stats going to be taking the 2-1 in this series. So a very good PvT play, just sort of a mechanical PvT, or I don't know what you want to call it, but it was like a very classic PvT. We saw game number 1, the Terran went for an attack, or went for an aggressive build, got hindered a little bit, and just fell on his face. And then the second game, the Protoss went for a bit of dirty cheese. And I will say dirty cheese, that gateway cheese, a little bit dirty, but aLive did scout it. And so he shut that down and kind of just won because the Protoss was behind in that sense. He had sort of a larger window than usual as a result. And then in the third game, we saw, while it wasn't just like a super normal opening or anything like that, it was a bit of a greedy opening for aLive. Stats, he just sort of macroed up himself, got to that late game composition, and aLive didn't really get enough done there. Stats took 1 or 2 good fights, reset the Terran army, and then eventually pinned and killed him. So if you guys haven't already tuned out of this video, I'm going to say it, make sure to press the like button. If you're new to the channel, make sure to press that subscribe button, as I'm putting out this content pretty darn regularly. And yeah, if you guys did enjoy this replay, I'm going to say this pretty much whenever I cast some of these replays. This was from the LaughNgamez League. And basically that is a weekly StarCraft 2 tournament based in Korea. And they put out a lot of good replays and a lot of great games, so you can watch that live. Just Google LaughNgamez League. I'll also link to the Patreon below if you want to pick up these replays yourself. Basically just a shout out to them. But yeah, thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.